bed.
It looks like you are on the feature match for round 3.
What?
So maybe you should get out there, Mike.
Would you go play your game?
Yeah, God.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mike. Good luck. Good luck.
Thank
out
you.
there.
Good luck,
you as
guys.
well, Ernest, for joining us. Good luck, guys. That was a fun one. Did you have a good...
I had a good time with that.
Yeah. So, okay, I think our only fundamental disagreement tonight was the one that we just saw, right?
Yep. The Benelish Honor Yard.
So
we agreed on the Carnivorous Death Parrot, the Fledgling Djinn.
Here's my thing. It's not good enough on 2 because to get any bonus out of it to be other than a vanilla 2/2 bear, you have to play a legendary on 3, or you have to play a legendary on 4. Like, you have to. And those aren't things that are like... Legendary cards are not things that just come back.
Was it legendary creature or legendary permanent?
Creature.
Okay.
And legendary creatures are not like things that just like are incidental, such as like, you know, having a white card or a black card.
In this set, in the current standard, with Dominaria,
I don't think so.
There's
even
a good
then,
amount of legendaries.
But I don't think you're playing 4 of legendaries, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I think you have to pack so many legendaries to make that specific bear good that contextually I don't think that's a good bear.
All right.
For now. And just as a little thing to pique your interest is, I think any of the cards that currently use legendaries as kind of a engine are not great now, but can only get better.
I am all in during draft.
Yes.
No, I didn't do a whole lot of drafting Dominaria, but I was all in on Davenant Trapper and Sarah Disciple.
Okay, yes.
Sarah Disciple, 1/1 flyer.
Yep.
It gets bigger if you have legendaries.
And the other one taps something, right?
Davenant Trapper, whenever you cast a historic spell, it taps something.
Yep.
I was all in on those, which trigger off the legendary and the artifacts.
I think Dominaria did a lot to bring us into a world where we have a lot more legendaries, and I think that going forward, like, I actually believe that Guilds of Ravnica is going to be a heavily legendary set for a variety of reasons.
And they have said they're going to continue most likely with uncommon legends.
Yes, and Commander always brings legendary stuff, right? So, like I said before, like, the cards that we're talking about in a vacuum, I don't think are good now, but, like...
There's room to improve.
Let's give it 5 years and see how many legendaries that people really want to play get printed, and then that could just be amazing. You know what I mean?
Could
be. Yeah.
Could be.
Speaking of stuff like Mox Amber, for example, that kind of card gets better when you have more legendaries available to make it better.
Right.
Yeah. So it looks like they both are keeping their 7.
David against Mike. I didn't catch who won the roll.
I did not either, but they both have keepable hands.
There's 3 lands, Fatal Push, Walking Ballista ×2,
Ruin Raider, and and the last Walking Ballista. Ruin Raider is like a version of Bob, and by Bob I mean Dark Confidant. If you attack with a creature this turn, it has Raid, and you can draw a card, but if you do, you take damage equal to the CMC. Mike has 4 lands, Baffling End, Cast Out, and Lyra, all of which are interactive and totally fine by him.
He can remove on turn 2, remove turn 4, and then Lyra turn 5.
Exactly. So David playing a tap land coming into play. So a lot of matches in this format, we're going to actually see a lot of tap lands because people are using 2-3 color land bases, and the tap land actually activates the check lands because they count as the basic land type. So we'll see a lot of check lands early. So that is the Thorn Lieutenant. It's a 2/3 for 2. If it gets a target by a spell or ability by your opponent, you can make a 1/1 elf token, and you can pay 1 green and 5 colorless to give it +4/+4.
Can we get that one up on the screen there?
Yeah,
Jake?
I think this is going to be a pretty good player in Standard going forward. This Thorn Lieutenant, it's an elf, also, in case you're interested in elf tribal stuff.
And Mike's removal spells all stuff that target it.
Yeah.
So even if he does get rid of it, he's left with a 1/1 behind.
Yep.
So he does have a Baffling End in hand. He's considering it.
Yeah. So you have to think about it because even if you get rid of it, you're still getting a 1/1 in its place. Interestingly enough, he picked up a Settle the Wreckage,
which does not target it.
Correct.
So Thorn Lieutenant down.
Still baffling, and it's been baffled.
Permanently exiled.
Yeah.
David on green does have ways to get rid of enchantments, so we might see the 3/3 dinosaur coming off the battlefield end.
Is that Dobby the elf token?
That would be a Dobby Elf Warrior.
I like that. So Mike here, interestingly enough, because he has Settle the Wreckage, can play towards that, if that makes sense, for a turn where he kind of blows out David. If David doesn't play around Settle the Wreckage, and that's actually a really big blow to decks like David's, because Judd midrange are kind of decks that want to grind you out. So if you can somehow take out their whole board in a turn, they don't have the mechanic to come back as well, because they've used a lot of cards to get to the point that they're at.
Now, Mike, one of the things about Settle the Wreckage, it's pretty obvious when you pass your turn leaving up 4 mana.
It is.
And don't do anything. Mike conveniently has a cast out.
Yep.
So he can leave up 4 mana and cast out, which is not signaling Settle the Wreckage as much. And
also in red-white, you don't tend to see Settle the Wreckage as much right now.
Right.
So David might not know that that's what's going on. Mike, unfortunately, has no turn 3 play. He will take 4 damage here from attacks, and David will be able to draw a card. But next turn, Mike has a lot of answers.
So this is round 3 of our Standard Showdown.
Yep.
We only do 3 rounds here, so this will be our last round for the night. Next week, we should be back with another Standard Showdown on Saturday.
Yep.
So we hope if you're enjoying the show tonight, you'll join us next week for that one as well.
Yep, next Saturday for Standard Showdown. Oh, sorry. Next Saturday is the con next Saturday as well, right? So we're gonna skip 1 week, and then we'll be coming all the way back for the rest of the Standard Showdowns going for the rest of the month.
Sorry about that, folks.
No worries. We will still be here.
The nice thing about this,
we'll actually get to play.
Oh, I'm playing.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, Alex has a headphone on, so Jake is yelling in his ear, even though I said the wrong thing.
I'm happy to be yelled at.
So we have a Walking Ballista from David. It's a 2/2, and there was an attack for 4. Mike drawing a mountain.
So Mike can play Shalai here if he wants, but I actually would hold up for Settle the Wreckage. Because if David decides to attack with everything, you blow him out with Settle Wreckage. If he attacks with just, let's say, 1 or 2 things, you can cast out the one that doesn't. That's less important, or more important rather.
On this one, I'm tempted to cast out the Raider.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's attacking.
Yeah. I think so too. But if David does,
if he swings with everything,
yeah, you Settle the Wreckage right away.
Right.
Actually, maybe even hold it, because settling the Wreckage would just give David a lot more lands at this point, right?
That is the downside of it.
Because he's only taking.
Well, it would only give him 2, because he's going to remove the counters to get 2 damage in.
See, like next turn would be a Settle the Wreckage turn. Like this turn, it might actually be worth it for him to. Well, no. If he swings in with everything, you Settle the Wreckage, because you can play Lyra next turn. Yeah. So we'll see how David wants to play his attacks. Is he going to play around Settle the Wreckage, or is he just no fear?
Now, notably, David casting creatures pre-combat.
Yes.
So
interesting. Yeah, you're right. He probably
something that we were just noticing Ernest trying not to do. So he does see the 4 mana up.
All right, yeah. So he's playing around.
He's respecting Settle.
Yeah. So with Ruin Raider not attacking, that's a definite signal he's playing around Settle the Wreckage.
That is a big signal.
Yeah. And if Mike settles the Wreckage here, there's no value to it. He's getting rid of a 1/1, and then he's not even going to get rid of the Walking Ballista. He's going to take damage. 2. So cast out here is a much more clean option.
Cast out on the Glint Sleeve.
Okay.
Glint Sleeve representing value over turns.
Yep.
So.
See, okay, so David's going to get a card because of the raid trigger.
Right.
He might take damage, or he's going to get a card. He won't be able to get a card from the energy of the Glint Sleeve Siphoner. Both are card draw engines that Mike wants to get rid of. He just decided to choose Glint Sleeve over the Ruin Raider. one of the things about the Ruin Raider, which he revealed a Ruin Raider, so he's going to take 3, is that the Ruin Raider to draw a card is harder to activate. He can't just draw it off energy like the Glint Sleeve Cipher.
Right.
When he draws a card, it's not just 1 damage; it's potentially more than 1 damage.
It's whatever the casting cost is. It
Right.
could be 0 if
it
it's
could
a
be
land.
0 if it's a land, right?
But he does have 5 mana. Liliana's in there.
So the play to take out the Glint Sleeve Siphoner, I'm totally fine with.
Yep.
Interesting enough here is, does Mike want to come in and slam Lyra here, or does he want to hold up Settle the Wreckage? I would be almost inclined to slam Lyra here.
Well, we've already seen that David is playing around to Settle.
Right.
So
for exactly that reason.
He's expecting that he has Settle.
Right.
So
Correct.
by tapping out, he would be indicating, no, all I had was a cast out.
Correct.
If he holds it up again, he's confirming.
Correct. And I think Mike does decide to slam Lyra. He says, David, show me you have Vraska's Contempt or something to take care of it. So David's cycling.
David digging for Vraska's Contempt or something to take care of it.
Yeah. And if we recall from the earlier match, David had Eldest Reborn. That would be a perfectly fine option here because Mike only has a single creature. So David, I'd imagine, has Eldest Reborn and Vraska's Contempt as options to take care of Lyra Dawnbringer. We'll see if he does have it. So he plays another Glint Sleeve. Okay.
I believe that's a Walking Ballista at the front of his hand.
Yep. So this is a really key turn because if David isn't able to kill Lyra Dawnbringer this turn,
it's going to turn around.
Well, part of it is normally it wouldn't be such a problem, but Mike has Shalai,
which will give it hexproof,
yes.
And Shalai will get bigger.
Correct. So
Lyra.
if Mike, I would like to see Mike play Shalai this turn because it basically creates another layer of defense that David really has to work to get through because now you have to take care of not only Lyra but also Shalai first.
So for David right now, the main thing he wants to get rid of is Lyra.
Yes, and if you put Shalai out there without even because he might know you have Settle the Wreckage, right?
Right.
So you might as well put Shalai up and then deal with the creature base after that because Lyra will keep you in alive territory if that makes sense. So I'm not sure if he will play it, but I would love to see him play Shalai here. There we go. Yeah. Shalai, Voice of Plenty, I believe.
So I believe it's resolved and we're into combat, swinging for 5.
5, yeah, sorry. And Mike gains 5.
So this... Alright, putting the counter on the Walking Ballista. Shalai is a 4/5.
4/5, which is significant because it's very hard to kill a lot of things with 5 toughness in red.
Now, we haven't seen any green mana other than the Ether Hubs, so probably not getting counters on it. But
Shalai is pretty susceptible to stuff in David's deck because like Fatal Push will take out Shalai because what David can do is just remove all the counters from the Walking Ballista and then trigger Revolt, so you can take out Shalai. But if David doesn't have the kill spell in hand, it's a lot. It's an additional layer of complexity that he has to deal with.
And if he has no answer, Mike's attacking for 9 in the air next turn.
Right.
With lifelink.
Which starts to put the race much further out of range. Yeah. And more importantly, let's say he doesn't get 9 in, but gets, let's say, 5 in, right?
Right.
And David is at 6. If you look at Mike's life total, or not life total, but mana total, he has 6 available mana. That puts David within almost range of a Banefire.
Which is in Mike's hand.
So one more land would put that to 6. So this is like very important next couple turns here. Like David really needs to get the raid trigger off of the Ruin Raider, and he has to find a card that will deal with Vraska's Contempt is the best one because he will also gain life.
2 life.
Yeah. Because this is actually a very, very tough moment here.
So now he's set up to draw on his next turn.
Yep.
Glint Sleeve. It's going to cost him a life, which he's running out of that if he doesn't have an answer.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Even the Ruin Raider, if he draws Vraska's Contempt, he loses 4 life.
Yeah.
Which puts him in Banefire range.
The interesting part about Ruin Raider now is that within a turn or two, depending how things play out, Ruin Raider might become a liability.
Yeah, that might end up killing him.
Yeah.
Looks like a dismissive Pyromancer.
Yeah. Sacking the Pyromancer will let him deal 4 damage to Shalai, but again, Shalai's a 4/5. Can't do it this turn, though.
That used to be a bad bear.
Yeah, that was my mistake bear. That was my mulligan bear.
I'm going to point that out every time it shows up.
That's fair.
Because I really thought you were going to call it a good bear.
I'm allowed to make mistakes every so often, you know?
It's happened twice on Bad Bear, Good Bear.
What was the second one?
Alaborn Grenadier.
That's not... No. If you're going to remind me of this, I'm going to remind you that Alaborn Grenadier in no world is a good bear. Maybe in a world where gun holsters are good bear criteria, but that's the only one. Alright, so with the raid trigger, he's going to actually just get a land. You know, in this situation, getting a land here, as much as it sounds like it would be bad, it's probably pretty good because it's just filtering.
He won't take any damage.
Yeah, and he's also filtering his deck to cards that he wants.
Yep.
I see a Benelish hero.
Benelish Marshal.
A Benelish Marshal, sorry. Your Benelish hero story,
yeah.
You got me there. But the Benelish hero will make his angels now 11 damage. Is that lethal?
That would be lethal.
That would be
There's
lethal.
No flyers on David's side.
So if David doesn't have an answer for the flyer here, that's 11 in the air.
And even if he does answer Shalai,
yep.
Lyra is 6/6 now. Looks like he's sacrificing a glint sleeve.
Oh, no. So what he did was he removed the counter and killed his own glint sleeve
to trigger revolt.
Now he's deciding if he wants to kill the Benelish Marshal or the Shalai. Oh, he can't kill the Benelish Marshal. He has to kill Shalai. So he has to kill Shalai this turn.
And he's committed to killing something.
Yes.
Because you don't kill your own creature lightly.
Yeah.
Unless it's a Ruin Raider.
So this is interesting because Mike has to know that he has Fatal Push, right? Like he has to know.
That's a huge sign.
Okay, so before attacks, he's going to Fatal Push Shalai. Okay.
He's only got 2 mana left.
Correct.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, there's nothing for 2 that.
There's nothing that'll take care of Lyra. So that's 6. So David should be
down
at
to
5 here, which is Banefire range, by the way. Knight of Grace for good measure. I like it.
So now, Glint Sleeve Siphoner, I think we pay 1 life to draw a card.
I mean, I would.
Because we're trying to find answers.
Yeah, I would.
5 and 4 are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Except at the end of turn with Ruin Raider.
Alright, so I'm not sure if they're trying to figure something out here. We'll see. Okay, yeah. So David is just trying to see. Oh, okay. Oh, he's going to cycle. Yep. Actually, I think David's just dead. Because if he has Banefire for 6 next turn, or 5 next turn, that's uncounterable. So unless David can kill Mike this turn or gain life, I think he's just dead. To Banefire anyway. We'll see. He gets the second draw.
No, I didn't see him draw when he cycled.
I saw him pick up a card.
Okay.
Sure. So he did pick up Vraska's Contempt.
And now Shalai's gone, he can get rid of Lyra, get a little more life.
They put him to 6.
And then he's still...
No, he's alive.
He's still got 3 mana for the Pyromancer after that also.
Yeah. Well, Mike needs to draw a land. Because Mike can currently Banefire for 5.
Banefire ends the game on the spot.
If he gets a land. But David can, with the Vraska's Contempt, can go up to 6.
Right.
Mike can currently do 5 with Banefire, but if a land comes off the top, he can do 6 and it'll be uncounterable, right?
Yep.
And you know what's really funny is David can't attack because he would trigger. It's not a May. His Ruin Raider is not a May.
Trigger raid on the Ruin Raider.
Yeah, and he would just kill himself.
Yep.
Insult to injury.
First part pumps a creature. Second part,
No,
I'm
first
thinking
part.
of them different.
First part makes all red creatures deal double damage, or red sources. Sorry, red sources deal double damage, and the second one is deal 2 damage to a creature and 2 damage to an opponent, which would deal 4 damage.
So he has lethal in hand. Swinging in. Okay, sacrificing the Pyromancer to take out the Marshal.
Yep.
Vraska's Contempt.
Yep. Go to 6.
Still has a 3/2 first striker.
Yep. I would block with the Ruin Raider at this point.
Can't. Oh, hexproof. Yep.
Yeah.
He could block with the Ruin Raider.
Yeah.
Yeah, to prevent the life loss.
Just to get it off of my board,
Right.
because there's no way I can attack going forward with the Ruin Raider still on my board.
Right.
Even if it's not a favorable trade, I don't think you want it anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He's done his job. He got you the cards early.
Yeah, and anything going forward is just it's very much death.
Yep.
So Mike is actually probably just waiting for the land to get the last Banefire shot in.
It's a safe way to get the kill.
Yeah, because right now
He's holding up Settle the
exactly.
Wreckage.
He's holding up Settle the Wreckage. But David can't attack anyway because if he attacks, the Ruin Raider will trigger. So Mike has a pretty interesting position here. Like, David has to play a lot of things to gain him life, to get him out of this red zone.
He doesn't have a lot, does he? Vraska's Contempt is about it.
Yeah. Yeah, see, if a source would deal damage this turn, it deals
It's
double.
doubled.
Yeah.
So he has ways to draw cards, but he doesn't have the life to use them.
Correct. So that's one of the interesting, weird things about being a black mage, which I love normally, is that you use life as your resource to kind of either cheat things out by getting more cards or getting things out quicker. But one of the things, the drawbacks is you lose life as your resource, and at some point you just run out of life.
Now that looks like a Vraska.
It is a
in his
Vraska.
hand,
Yeah.
but it's a black source, so it doesn't deal well with that knight. Right now, the only thing on board that deals with the knight would be the Ballista.
Well, he can block the knight with any of the stuff. He just can't do anything
I
to the
keep
knight.
mixing up hexproof with
Yeah.
protection. Yep.
It's okay. It happens for specifically this thing, and he gets another ballista, which will take the knight.
3/3,
Yeah, it'll
yeah.
take care of the knight if he needs it.
So he is attacking, getting some energy.
This is ambitious.
He has stuff that costs 5.
Yeah.
I don't know about 6.
Wait, Raid Trigger.
Ruin Raider.
Oh, hold on, Ruin Raider. 1 second. Wait, I want to make sure that's not a.
He's got a Banefire. It's a mandatory.
Okay. Is Ruin Raider a May? Because I think he has a Raid Trigger. He still has to resolve for the extra card.
Yeah. There's a lethal.
Oh yeah,
Banefire.
but the Banefire.
So I think
he
going
drew the
forward,
land. Yeah.
Going forward to games 2 and 3, Ruin Raider does read as a. If we can get that up on the screen, it does read as a not optional draw trigger.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. So yeah.
Interesting game. Lyra again turning that game around.
Lyra with no answer was really the main thing, because I think David was
backed
able to.
Up by Shalai.
Yeah, so I think David was able to draw the answer to Lyra a turn after Shalai came out. So I was really happy to see Mike play Shalai once he knew that Lyra was out of the woods, because he had the option of holding up for Settle the Wreckage again or any of those things.
He never played the Settle.
No, he didn't.
Something that David definitely played around. We saw him opt not to attack with the Ruin Raider.
Yep.
And so still doesn't know for sure if Mike has it.
That's
he played
true.
the next turn as though he didn't.
Yeah, because Mike only showed Cast Down. I mean, that's favorable to Mike in the sense that David might only think he's running Cast Down, which is not out of the question at all. Yeah, so I think if you're going to attack Mike's deck, as far as from a sideboard perspective, you want to take out stuff that'll take out big individual creatures, because like we saw Lyra, Glorybringer, those are the things that Mike uses to win the game. He doesn't use a wide strategy. He doesn't use stuff at 2 or 3 to win the game, just to hold off until he can get to the 5-drop spot, which are the cards that win him the game. So David,
that's what we saw this game.
Right.
But round 2, we saw him go with the Knight into the Marshal, into the other things.
Yep.
So.
Oh yeah, the Marshal is pretty good too.
he had a good wide run earlier. We're getting a note.
Yeah.
So we do have an announcement after this round.
Yeah. Some
which we're
cool
gonna
new
bring
stuff
up.
coming up.
So
It'll be...
just so y'all know, we got that coming up.
Yep.
And this, again, round 3, this is our last round. So once this round is over, we'll be wrapping up for the night, but we will make an announcement before we sign off.
Yep.
And I don't see Dason playing.
I don't know if he may. Yeah, he might still join us for Aloha.
Or we might hear him outside.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about having Dason around is the ending of the show. He loves to pop in and do an Aloha.
We did not stream last night.
Right.
So I went out to my car after playing Commander.
Mm-hmm. Did you Aloha to the world?
I was getting in my car, and Dason and his father walked into the parking garage.
Yeah.
And Dason turned to me and said, "Hey, Andy."
Yeah?
Aloha!
I love it.
It was awesome.
I love it. I really like when kids also just get into, like, I think Magic is a good way to have kids learn how to socialize really well.
It's a very good icebreaker.
Yeah.
You see somebody with a common interest, and you're just drawn to them.
Yep.
So it's a good way to get your kids out there talking with other people and meeting new people.
And if you find a good community, and I like to think that our community here is very, very good and welcoming.
I like to think so too.
Yeah, I think it's a good way for them to interact with people and learn just stuff. Like, there's a lot of smart people that play Magic, and I think being able to talk to all of them is a good opportunity.
I would agree.
Yeah. It looks like they're just finishing up their sideboarding plans right now and presenting their decks.
Now, you were saying earlier it's very important to be on the play.
Yeah.
In this standard. Last round, David was on the play, but it looks like he just kind of, I don't know, Lyra turned the game around.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he'll probably most likely be on the play again.
Yep.
And with the card advantage that he has, usually once he's ahead, barring a bomb.
Yep. Like we talked about this in David's earlier game. One of his issues is that he doesn't deal well with flyers.
Right.
Kind of these Jundi colored decks don't tend to deal. They tend to gum up the ground really well and then win in certain other ways, but not necessarily have a lot of flyers.
Right.
And so he's going to have to rely on his removal and think about very carefully what removal to use and what removal to save. Is that 5 lands?
That's 5 lands, Elder Reborn, and a Pyromancer. So he's got good removal, and he's got all the fixing he needs.
The reason why this is totally fine of a keep too is the Pyromancer on 3 will be able to loot a card if he doesn't draw gas. He can just dump a land for a new card.
Mike's side, we got 2 lands, a Braid, 2 Shalais, and 2 Banefires.
Okay.
So light on lands on his side, but a Braid helps.
Yep. So Mike needs to draw. He'd like to see land.
He needs mana.
Yeah, he wants to see land. But David is on the play, so he feels like with that extra draw, that might be okay. And he picks one up anyway.
David looking for spells, Mike looking for lands.
Yeah. Mike does not get punished, picks up his 3rd land. He still needs his 4th, but for now, things are going nicely there. Looks like we'll go back to David. I'm likely to see the Pyromancer get dropped this turn. I think he picked up another land, right?
Oh, it is. It's a bear.
It's a bear. I would like you to remind me about that bear, Andy.
It's a good bear.
It is a good bear.
It looks like a good bear to me, anyway.
Yeah. Although other things look like good bears to you, too.
Well, good bears look like good bears to me, Alex.
And Mike wants to check
Mike
out...
admiring the bear.
Yeah, Mike wants to check out how our bear looks. Mike is like, no, that's too good of a bear.
Bad bear.
Let's braid it out of there.
That bear took down an angel last game.
It did. David on 3 lands. So they both are on basically like 4 and 5. 4 and 5 lands are very, very important for them.
Right. Is that a magma spray that Mike picked up?
That is a magma spray in Mike's hand. I think David ended up picking up more lands.
Not what he wants to hit.
No. The Eldest Reborn, though, will be good for him because let's say Mike plays Shalai this turn or Gideon this turn. Whatever creature he decides to, or creature or planeswalker he decides to slam this turn is getting sacrificed to Eldest Reborn. And Eldest Reborn is like the key kind of card you want to see as David versus Mike,
Right.
because Mike is investing a lot into 5-drop creatures. So if I have something that not only takes out your 5-drop, but also lets me take your 5-drop afterwards, and in this case 4-drop Shalai, like
So that's going to die on David's turn and likely come back to David's board in 2 turns.
Exactly. And not only that, it lets David get a free discard on the second phase of the Eldest Reborn.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see him just slam that card right now. Here we go, Eldest Reborn. So on 1, he'll sack a creature. In this case, it's Shalai.
Now, when David gets it back, though, it will be a 3/4, which...
Wait, actually, hold on. Can he target that with Shalai on the field?
I don't believe Elder Reborn targets. I believe it's each opponent.
Can you check if Elder Reborn targets, making sure that Shalai's hexproof does not...
Each opponent sacrifices a creature.
Okay, so it doesn't target.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Can you target... So with the
target
3
their
count,
graveyard?
Yeah, with the
yes, because he's targeting the graveyard, not the player.
Okay.
Shalai gives hexproof to the player.
Yep.
Actually, he's not even targeting the graveyard. He's targeting the card in the graveyard.
I think Mike actually technically has to target...
No, you can plus with no legal targets. It's
can you?
Up to 1.
Okay. Perfect. And
So
he
had
decides
to
to discard the Magma Spray.
And actually, it looks like he targeted the Elder Reborn. So I guess you can target lands also. So
I think it's non-land permanent, which I guess technically the Elder Reborn is. Is that a Vraska? Yeah. So David slams Vraska on 6, which he definitely drew into. That's a really good draw for David. Vraska the Relic Seeker, Jake.
Plussed it.
Yep. Vraska the Relic Seeker. VRAS. He made a 2/2 pirate token with Menace. The -3 is relevant because he'll be able to take care of whatever creature Mike wants to play. However, it does not take care of Gideon.
And the nice thing about Gideon, he can prevent damage from that pirate. So
Yep.
he's buying himself another turn.
Alternatively, Gideon could try to crash in at Vraska as well.
Can become a creature.
Yeah, if he feels like he needs to somehow reduce that total amount of cost. But like we said earlier, next turn, the looming Eldest Reborn. So he is going to
becoming
make
a creature. It's a
5/5.
6/6 because of Marshall.
No, it's a 4/4 plus.
Okay,
It's
so-
a 5/5. Yeah.
Likely getting blocked.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you build the
Pirates.
The pirate is to protect it.
The ultimate on Vraska, a pretty big one.
Yep. But like we said, the looming... Oh, he just hit David in the face.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. So he will get Shalai back. See, I think he had to pressure Vraska there because now with Shalai, he won't be able to cast out or take care of
Right.
Vraska on its own, and Vraska can just plus twice. Or plus once and then minus.
Now, luckily, Mike has lifelink.
Yep. But,
So
I mean...
Lyra, if she gets down, can help him recover from that.
Next turn, David can just turn Mike's health to 1, though.
Yeah.
Which is very rough. And he will, because of...
He's got 2 menace pirates.
Yep, and because of the energy, he can actually pump his team with... He can put counters on his team with Shalai. Because he has double green.
He has green mana.
Yep. So this...
There's Thorn Lieutenant again.
So, just like last game, but in the other way, it looks like this game got out of hand really quickly once we hit the 5 or 6 slot. 5 specifically for both players. was the key turn. And for David, like the Eldest Reborn, for example, really made this game turn out of reach really quickly.
That was a huge card for him.
Yeah, because it's basically 3 cards in one.
Without that, if it had just been a kill spell,
Yep.
He has no flyer.
Correct.
He has no hexproof.
Yep.
So cast out is a huge card against him.
Yep.
As it is, not so much.
So next turn, I fully expect David just to ultimate Vraska, and with 4 different creatures, just swing it. Well, actually, he might have to play around Settle the Wreckage, surprisingly, but
Mike cannot settle the wreckage, as all attacking creatures target player controls.
Oh yeah.
So Shalai shuts that off for him.
Huh. He has his own Shalai. But with this, I think he's just still dead on board.
Well, the Shalais block each other,
Mm-hmm.
but the menace creatures get in for the kill.
Yeah.
Mike looking at it pretty hard. He hasn't used Gideon yet.
No.
Now he could emblem Gideon.
If he emblems Gideon, he would go down to 1. So, actually, emblem Gideon would keep him alive.
Because then the pirates have to attack Gideon to get rid of Gideon.
So Mike has 2 Banefires, but is quickly realizing that he can't Banefire anything.
He can only hit the angel.
Yeah. And so yeah, that still would be 1, 2. Yeah, so like I think if Mike decided to attack Vraska instead of David's face, we might have bought 1 more turn, but I'm not sure if it would have helped enough.
Vraska definitely made her presence known. She's
Gideon +1, so I think he's just dead on board.
He prevented the damage from Shalai.
Yeah, because with the 2 menace zombies, I mean, he should just be dead on board.
There's not enough blockers.
Yeah.
Is he not ultimating? David's going for the... Okay, so he -3.
Okay.
To get rid of Shalai. Which means that neither of the menace creatures can be blocked now.
He couldn't ultimate because of Shalai.
Target player.
Yeah. This is a cool game. He couldn't, yeah. Interesting. So now the goal should be to somehow figure out a way to take out Gideon.
Yeah, get Gideon off the board so it's not a factor. He can attack for 4 at it.
I would actually just attack with the house because he can pump his Thorn Lieutenant to make his Thorn Lieutenant a 4/6 or whatever.
Yeah. He can also use
Shalai
to pump everybody.
Yeah.
Which is what he's
doing. Yeah. Okay, yeah. And
Jinx.
Yep. And in this way, Gideon still dies.
Right.
So, next turn, Mike... Well, Gideon's going to die unless Mike has double Banefire. He can't do anything about it. So, then he has to take out Shalai.
He needs 5 mana to kill Shalai.
3, 6...
So Gideon is dead.
Yeah, 3, 6, 9. Ooh, this is getting rough.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Shalai being the actually thing that's changed the most in both games. Like being able to have Shalai on the board was just insane.
Banefire Shalai.
Yep.
So now we're back to a damage raise. Vraska needs to build up her loyalty again.
But David has 13 on the board. Like, let's say Vraska just -3s and kills the Benelish Marshal. David can just do 13 damage.
Yeah.
Because it's 3, 6, 9 plus 4, 4, which would be 13. And then if he has any sort of... Well, let's see what he wants to do. Like, I would be totally cool with David deciding to just -3 Vraska, take out the Benelish Marshal.
He also gets a treasure by doing that.
Yeah. Yep. And then Mike has no mana to settle the wreckage right now, so come in for 13 pumps, and then next turn, Mike is at 5 and has to deal with 2 menace creatures. Like, on board, you have a very, very good thing that can still play around settle the wreckage.
Yeah. Yeah, board's clear.
Yep. So David,
Swing for 9.
Yep.
Plus a pump of 4. So that's 13. Puts Mike down to 5. Short of a fumigate, and that's not even going to solve everything. There's not a whole lot right now.
Yeah, Mike has to. Yeah, it has to be fumigate. 3. Sweltering Suns would be okay too.
Yep, everything's small enough to die to that.
Yeah. I guess technically Hour of Devastation.
Settle the wreckage. I mean,
Cleansing Nova, but I don't
short
think
of
he's
a board
playing.
wipe.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing any of those.
No.
So
That's a History of Benalia. That's one night. It's not going to be enough.
I think that's the second Vanilla
Bane Fire in the back.
Yeah, so they're going to game 3. Eldest Reborn doing work.
Turn that game around.
Yeah. Eldest Reborn on 5 into Vraska on 6 just won that game.
So who would have thought stealing your opponent's angel that gives you hexproof would be that
pretty good, right? Yeah.
Seems like a pretty strong effect.
Not only is it not your milkshake, but is also my milkshake.
And it's better than yours.
And it's better than your milkshake. So we'll see. Mike will be able to be on the play here. And we've seen that's been a determining factor.
Well,
a lot of
not
times.
in this round.
Oh, this round has been the opposite, hasn't it? No, David went first.
Oh, he went first
David
this game.
went
Okay.
first for this game, yeah.
Yeah, but he went first the first game also. Mike was
Right.
able to turn around. So
I guess the key determining factor is who has the better turn 5 play.
Also, the games where Mike plays Lyra
That
tend to go
helps
well for him.
Yeah, that tends to help a lot. Yeah, that was good. I think the only difference is I'd like to have seen Mike maybe attack Vraska instead of David to the face, but it's not too much of a difference there.
We didn't see any Ruin Raiders.
No.
I don't believe we saw a Glintsleeve Siphoner.
I can imagine that David might have taken those out, fearing that he takes too much damage from them himself.
Because it was kind of a race game one.
And Bane fires a card.
Right.
Yeah. But
by doing that, he loses card advantage.
He does. But if Mike is just dumping out his hand like Boros does... Oh, okay. They only have a minute left in the round, so they're
playing fast.
They're just rolling on it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, those were kind of long games.
They were
grindy. They both have a grindy matchup.
And this is game 3 of our last round, so they both want to finish with a win.
I like that we're playing Speed Magic now.
We didn't even need to press the fast forward button.
Ooh, we get to see one of the new cards from M19 that Mike has in play, but he does. No, never mind. He decides History of Banana. Grab a knight, but we saw Resplendent Angel in his hand.
Now, Mike has his own knights.
He does. What is that one?
That would be Sir Patrick Stewart.
Did you make? Oh, that's so good. Is there an Elton John one?
These are Mike's knights. I don't believe he had an Elton John.
You have to make Patrick Stewart, Elton John, really like.
That would be Blackadder.
Oh, that's a good one. I love it. The Knight's a knee. You have to get the Knight a knee in there.
I don't know if he has that one or not.
All right, so Mike picking up his second knight, coming in with his first. David decides to abrade it. Yeah. Mike coming forward with
there's the Phoenix.
Great card.
So next turn, Mike attacking for 8.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. David thinking. I'm guessing if he has it, he draws his contempt, and he might.
He's holding it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, brings it to the front, and that's going to handle the Phoenix nicely.
But he still take 4. That's a reasonable amount of damage, and I believe
Mike can still continue to build his board up.
He only has.
Are those only lands?
He has 4 lands and a Resplendent Angel.
Okay.
But right now it's worth it for him to just come in and see what David has.
Yeah. Force his hand.
Yeah. So Vraska's. Yep.
So he hits for 2.
2, so David goes to 18. Interestingly enough, if he plays Resplendent Angel this turn, next turn he has enough mana to activate it himself. Okay, I think they're figuring out a judge question right now.
One of the downsides of playing fast.
Yeah, that's okay. So Resplendent Angel comes down, and then for 6 mana, you can give it +2/+2 and lifelink. And then if you gain 5 or more life in a turn, at the beginning of the end step, you get a 4/4 white angel with vigilance, basically a Sarah Angel.
Right.
David has to kill the Resplendent Angel this turn, or Mike will be able to activate it next turn.
It's a 3/3, so it's vulnerable to a lot.
Yes. And in fact, it's vulnerable to the Pyromancer.
Who doesn't have haste, though.
Correct. So in this case, Mike, if things go well, will be able to get a
4/4 angel.
4/4 angel out of it. Or he can play the Glorybringer and take out the Pyromancer.
He has choices, he doesn't have time.
Yes. If I was playing Speed Magic, I would probably slam the Glorybringer, exert it to take out the Pyromancer, and then still attack with everybody else, just
the
like
Glint-Sleeve
slam.
Siphoner right now is helping you.
Correct. Well, maybe not, but it could be.
Well,
yeah. It's helping you more than the Pyromancer is helping you, all right?
The Pyromancer is actively destroying the board.
Yes, exactly.
Glint-Sleeve is damaging and looking for answers.
So let's see if Mike decides to take out the Pyromancer. Yeah.
Yes. So exerted Glorybringer.
Yep, so that's...
Knight's untapped.
9 damage coming in because David wants his card. His Knight is untapped, though, because it has Vigilance, I believe. So as long as they get that fixed out, that's fine.
It can't block as a menace, but just clear up the board.
Yep.
David did pay the life.
So he has to have a kill spell for Resplendent Angel here, because otherwise that's going to be a 5/5 coming in, making a 4/4, which would leave like 15 damage in the air in the next turn. So hopefully he was able to dig out an answer for that Resplendent Angel. It looks like it might be Walking Ballista for 3.
6 mana, yep.
Yep. And
Which
if I were
okay.
him, I would just pop it right now.
Yeah.
You don't have a choice.
Because once Mike untaps, it's not going to kill it.
Yeah. The moment he untaps, he's not going to have the priority to kill it.
So David doing the math. He's pretty quick at math.
Yeah.
So
you got to kill it now, David. I know it feels bad because you want. I get the feeling he wants to like remove the counters and then fatal push, but I don't think he has the liberty.
Time or mana.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is rough because the next turn he either has to take another 2 and not chump block, or he loses card draw engine. Mike, however, doesn't have anything in hand, right? Like
just lands and he just drew Shalai.
Oh, is that Shalai? Yeah, that's Shalai. Ooh, Shalai would be great.
That's a good one right now.
Yeah, we talked about how good Shalai is, and you can dodge Eldest Reborn by sacking your knight these days. You know, I might play Shalai and not attack.
The knight has vigilance.
Yes, I know. I might play Shalai and not attack so that I have a sacrifice.
For Elder?
Yes.
He can sacrifice a Glorybringer.
Right, but then if you don't sacrifice the Glorybringer, you
comes
just
back on David's side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, because Eldest Reborn here is the one thing that can save David. Like, Eldest Reborn, Eldest Reborn, and Braid would get him out of this.
It looks like he has the Braid. Can't get a good look. Is that Liliana, I think?
So it's tough
Liliana.
too. Yeah, it's very tough too because they're both playing under a time crunch.
Yeah.
So these are all decisions which normally are hard enough to make when you play Magic. Magic is a very difficult game.
And they weren't playing slow earlier.
They weren't playing slow. It's just the game was grindy.
Games.
Yeah. And, it's not an easy thing to do. So doing it under time pressure is even harder.
So we're getting a zombie on David's side.
David was digging for the Ravenous Chupacabra.
Found a Chupacabra.
Yeah.
That's probably coming back next turn.
Yes. 100%.
Has to take out Shalai, though.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice.
So I'm thinking you don't exert and just go straight at David.
Okay, so how about this? You go 4 at David with the Glorybringer, and you go... Oh, no, so you go 3 at David with the Shalai and 4 at
At Liliana?
Liliana, so he can't recur
yeah.
So she can't recur.
Oh, cast out works also.
Cast out is great.
Cast out lets
Just
you get
cast
rid of
it out
Lily
right now.
and swing for 7.
Yeah.
I still don't think I'm exerting the Glory Bringer.
I'm
I
not.
want to be able to attack
There's
next
no
turn
reason.
with it.
There's no reason to because there's nothing on the ground that
Yep.
David can stop him with.
Now, he has to cast out during his turn. Once David reaches the main phase, he has priority and can get the Chupacabra back.
Yep.
So there's swing for 7.
I think this is just that face.
Yeah.
Yep. David goes to 1, and I think he's going to do it main phase, which
Yeah,
I like. This is one of those times where I'm fine doing it main phase.
Yep. I don't want David to have the chance to bring that.
Yeah, I don't want.
back.
Yeah, there's no world where I want him to be able to activate an ability.
And that was a fast game.
Yeah, and that's it.
Very well played.
Very well played.
Good management of time in that one.
We found whoever was able to resolve Shalai in their game, or that's not true. Mike resolved Shalai, but whoever ended
David
up,
stole it.
whoever ended up with Shalai was